Welcome back to Real Shift, where we like to talk real shit all day, every day, all for the love of movies. I am your host, Joe, and today we're going to be talking about my Netflix list. Now, this used to be called the Netflix queue back in the day, I believe, and this was basically where you put stuff that you, I guess, were planning on watching at some point, or you thought about watching at one time, for whatever reason. Now, I didn't even realize this was still a thing, to be honest with you. I thought it had long been, I guess, discontinued or they got rid of it or whatever. I just happened to stumble upon it on here, and there's stuff in here, and I'm not sure why it's in here, to be quite honest. And I'm behind the camera this time, obviously, so I'm over here, so I can see, so you can see what's going on and what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm just gonna go through my my rediscovered Netflix list real quick and tried to figure out what I was thinking at that time, I guess. So, first we have Underworld, Rise of the Lycans. I have no idea why this is in there because, to be quite honest, I don't like any of the Underworld movies. I never have. I saw the first one, I believe, maybe the second one. I don't know. They've never been my thing at all. Not my cup of tea. So, yeah, I'm not sure why that's there at all. Um, Next on the list, we have The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Now, I know why this is on my list. I am a huge David Fincher fan. I love all of his films pretty much. And this is just one that I've never got around to watching. I still haven't got around to watching it. I'm a fan of him. I'm a fan of Brad Pitt, obviously. I actually own this movie now, so it's not even really necessary for me to, I guess, excuse the bug flying in here. Yeah. And anyway, it's not even necessary for this to be in my list anymore, but it is. And yeah, so that's something that I can definitely understand why it's there. Next, we have Breaking Bad. I have a complicated relationship with Breaking Bad, and this is going to come off as somewhat of a hot take, but I don't mean for it to be. But I attempted to watch Breaking Bad some time ago. I made it about a season and a half into it, I think, and I just honestly lost interest in it. And I know that's crazy to think about. A lot of people regard it as one of the best shows ever made, and I totally respect that opinion, and I'm not even here to dispute it. But it just, when I attempted to watch it, it just didn't do anything for me. It didn't hold my attention. And that happens sometimes. You know, you watch something that everyone praises or everyone thinks is great, and sometimes it's not what you're expecting it to be. So, next I have Above the Rim. This was I guess you could call it a Tupac Shakur movie, even though I'm pretty sure he wasn't in it as much as I think he is. But that's pretty much the only reason it's on here. I am a Tupac fan as far as music goes, so that's pretty much the main reason why it's here. I did make an attempt at one point to try to see all of his movies, and I still haven't seen this, so I still might give it a shot considering it's still on here. But yeah, that's pretty much all the insight I have on that. The other guys I have seen before. To be quite honest, I'm not a huge Will Ferrell fan. I know that's kind of another hot take. I didn't mean for this to be the hot take show, but I'm not a huge Will Ferrell fan either. But this was actually one of the movies that I did enjoy of his. I thought it was funny. So, yeah. So I could probably take that over there. This is the one that doesn't make sense to me. The Killer Inside the Mind of Aaron Hernandez. This is fairly new, and I definitely did not put this in my list. I'm starting to believe that Netflix just throws shit in your list just because they want you to watch it. Because I don't care about this. I don't care about Aaron Hernandez or what happened. It's just, yeah, it's not something I would watch, and I have no idea why it's there. So, yeah, that's how I feel on that. Next, we have Nighthawks. Clearly, I have this in here because, oh, Billy D. Williams is in this. I didn't know that. But anyway, so that's just a lone movie. Obviously, Rugger Hauer. It's just one of those movies, again, older movies that I just never got around to seeing. I still haven't. So I'm kind of glad it's still on here because I might check this out too. Don't know too much about it because I've never seen it, but yeah, definitely interested in it. The 100. This was a CW show, I believe, and it was recommended to me, I believe, by somebody. And I did watch maybe a few episodes of it, and it didn't hold my interest. It has that same kind of teeny bopper feel that most CW shows have, to be quite honest. So yeah, it just didn't hold my interest. It's a cool premise. It really is, but I just, yeah, it just didn't do anything for me, and I'll probably never watch that. Next we have Scandal. I don't watch Scandal, but I know my wife does, so I'm assuming that's probably why that's on here. Yeah, not a show I watched, but I know she liked it, or at least did like it at one time. This is Lilyhammer. this was also recommended to me by someone. I didn't even know about it, but it is a Netflix original. Basically, they recommended this to me because I am a huge fan of The Sopranos, and obviously this has a vague Sopranos connection. I realize Steve Van Zandt is not playing the same character that he played in The Sopranos, but he is awfully similar, and so people thought I'd enjoy it, so they recommended it to me. And yeah, just the idea of a fish out of water story with a mob boss, I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, haven't got around to watching that yet either. And again, I forgot about it. Next, we have The Master. This was one of those movies that got a lot of praise when it came out. It was one of those Oscar bait type movies, which I love. I don't mean that in a negative way. But yeah, it's just something that I'm interested in, even more so now with Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Amy Adams for that matter. I think all three of them are pretty stellar actors. So yeah, that's definitely something I still want to check out, and I'm glad it's still on here. This is Mud. This was during the, I believe this came out during the whole McConaughey Renaissance, during the whole, yeah, it says right there actually, Dallas Buyers Club. During that time when he had his Renaissance and he was like the go-to guy for a while. And I thoroughly enjoyed Dallas Buyers Club. I remember he was in Wolf of Wall Street around that time too, I think. And yeah, he had a renaissance. And this was one of those movies that that he made during that time. And again, yes, haven't seen it, but it is it's definitely something I would check out for sure. Oh yeah, Ip Man. I've seen this a few times actually. This is probably one of the better, one of the, if not the best modern martial arts movie that I've ever seen. It's absolutely flawless, actually, to be honest with you. But yeah, I've seen the first and the second one. I don't think I've seen the third one, and I think there's actually a fourth one now. But yeah, this is definitely something I've watched already many times. Orange is the New Black is another one my wife watched. I've never seen an episode of it. I know what it's about, but couldn't tell you much about it, and that's probably why it's in there. Arrow, I used to watch pretty religiously. I kind of had to, I guess, overlook some of the more, again, CW teeny bopper elements of the show. But there were elements, especially early on within like the first two seasons, where I thought Arrow was actually really well done, especially for a kind of a second tier, maybe even third tier superhero. But it's just really well done, and in the first couple of seasons. But once it got to like season 3, 4, that area, I kind of started to lose interest and I stopped watching. It might have been either 5 or 6 actually, but yeah, it's up to 8 seasons now, and I'm behind and probably never catch up. Lawless was a movie I have seen, and it seemed like it would be something that I was interested in. It kind of has the gangster feel, Tom Hardy, but it's not all that memorable to me. I don't even remember it, to be quite honest, so it definitely didn't do anything for me as far as making me want to rewatch it. So yeah, can't say I recommend it. Ip Man 2, I just talked about. That and Ip Man 1 are probably two of the best kung fu movies that I've seen in a long time. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, I've definitely seen this already also. Extremely underrated movie. It is very well done. It's depressing as hell, but it is a very good movie, and I recommend anyone definitely check it out. Especially if you're interested in like World War II, Nazi, the Holocaust, stuff like that. Again, it's a tough watch, but it's definitely worth it. Jericho. This is something I think I was interested in it at one time, but it seems like a premise that would definitely interest me, but it's just not something that I have ever been interested enough to actually dive into. So it's just one of those things where I was like, I might like that, so I'll save it for later. But I heard I believe it's like an ABC or NBC show. It's like a cable show, so I'm not expecting much, but it is. I have heard people actually praise it and say it's one of those shows that was kind of underappreciated when it was out. So who knows? Maybe someday. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. I have no idea why this is in here. Yeah, not something that I really care about or understand. I don't even know what it's about, to be honest. They've been waiting to set free a little girl pushes open the door to terror. Yeah, I'm not interested in that at all, so I'm just gonna move on. Haywire, I don't really remember what this is either, to be quite honest with you. So yeah, I'm gonna just move on from that one either too. Beast of No Nation. This is the Idris Elba. This is one of the first Netflix original movies that I remember getting a lot of praise. And it got a lot of attention too. I don't know if it wasn't their first movie, I don't think, but it was like early, I think, when they really started to kick into high gear with making their own movies. And so yeah, it's still something I'd like to check out. I'm a fan of Idris Elba, and it could be interesting. Sense8, this is a Netflix original. If you ever heard me talk about it, I soured on Netflix originals, but I think 90, well, maybe 75 to 80% of them are usually don't interest me at all. And when I watch them, I lose interest quick. And I think Netflix just greenlights a lot of things sometimes and doesn't really care about the quality. That's just my personal opinion. But I did hear Sense8 was pretty good, and I might still check that out at some point. You never know. American Horror Story I have watched, and I am caught up with it for the most part, I believe. This show is pretty much hit or miss for me. There's a handful of seasons I like. There's a handful of seasons I don't like. I can definitely recommend seasons 1 and 2, which were the Murder House and the Asylum. But outside of that, it's hit or miss from then on out. And there's even seasons where I dug it for the most part and hated the ending, or vice versa. So yeah, American Horror Story is another one that I actually did end up watching, and I'm kind of a fan of. Like I said, halfway fan, because some of the seasons are good, some not so much. But yeah, and the last one in here is Between. I guess this is another Netflix series, 2015 series. Every resident of Pretty Lake over 21 has died, leaving the young survivors to try to save themselves. It's kind of got like a Logan's Run type, I guess, premise to it, where all the older people die and it's left to the younger people. That could be interesting, I suppose. Interesting concept. So I could see why I put that in here. But yeah, never watched it. It looks like it only had 2 seasons, so it doesn't look like it's even running anymore. So it might have been 2 seasons and done. But yeah, anyway, that's my Netflix queue, or my list, I should say. I don't really have a whole lot in here that I would probably keep, or at least still consider watching. And I know I had more stuff in here too, but I'm sure Netflix lost the rights to most of it, or just or went off, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, that's my venture into my rediscovered Netflix list. Let me know what you think about any of these. Do you recommend any of these? Is there something on here that I'm missing, or that I'm not giving the time of day that I should? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm always open to watching something new. So yeah, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.